Hello, boys and girls. Today is April 23rd, 2023. In a couple of days, on April 26th, I'm gonna be 48 years old. But this update is not about aging, it's about the new law, what we just got in our little republic, Republika Hrvatska, Croatian Republic. And this is Zakon o sprečavanju dezinformacija, the law about stopping spreading disinformation. And now there is a new fine for it, between 700 and 4,000 euros for spreading false information. And that also includes the hate speech. And the hate speech is really not so relevant part. This is actually how the whole thing started, right? It's about one phrase which I'm reluctant to say, even translated to English. Um, but this is not the main part. Main part is this is the stepping stone. This is the stepping stone towards the new world order, because now we are back where we actually been in Socialist Federative Republic of Yugoslavia, when we had in place Zakon o verbalnom deliktu, the law of verbal delict, where you could end up in a gulag, very nice place close to here, Goli Otok, Naked Island, for false spreading false information. I could like go a little bit about that law. It was about back in Yugoslavia, which was, as you know, communist country, full of problems you couldn't speak about, and which exploded in a open genocide in 1991, when radical Serbs tried to exterminate most of the Croatian people and other nations. And we all know this was also cover up for another thing, which was the population of this area, which unfortunately hit all of us here in the Eastern Europe, and which is also hitting people in the Western Europe as well. So that law, I'm gonna start with the past from the 80s. I remember that very well. It was a topic. It was the biggest issue in the country. Was Zakon o verbalnom deliktu. It clearly said. First, I'm gonna say it in my language. Um, um, you, zabranjeno kritiziranje Ustava SFRJ i društvenog uređenja. You could not speak against the constitution of the Socialist Federative Republic of Yugoslavia and the social management, which was samoupravni socijalizam, which was self-managed socialism. This was one thing you couldn't speak about. You couldn't basically speak about anything political. You could speak about weather. It was okay. You could speak about food. You couldn't speak about the politics. Another thing was zabrana kritiziranje lika i djela prvog predsjednika SFRJ Josipa Broza Tita. You couldn't criticize or talk negatively about the first president of the Socialist Federative Republic of Yugoslavia, Josip Broz Tito. And this was the guy, you know, who like literally murdered hundreds of thousands of people, and threw in a prison hundreds of thousands of more. But he had a good public relation image, and still many people, under of course a very effective mind control management, still worship him as a god here. So where that led us, well, you know where that led us. It's a topic still. It led us basically to one of the most disgusting, horrible wars in the new European history, where more people died in 4 years than they died in Ukraine conflict right now. About well, nobody really knows, but it's a low estimate is 100,000 people. So on April 21st, we had this new law. I'm actually very afraid of it, because I know it's a stepping stone towards the new world order. And it clearly says that for hate speech and spreading false information, you will be fined between 700 and 4,000 euros. And it's not really defined what is false information. Of course, it's about powers that be to decide in a court of law what is that once they select you for a gulag. And in my understanding how things are going, it goes like this. Step number one is you have serious problems in society, problems powers that be government doesn't want to hear about. They, you know, simply things also this platform doesn't want to hear about, so I can't say it either here as well. But you can imagine that there are serious issues going on if government was so desperate to actually ban speaking. So what's the next step? So the next step is that many people slowly then suddenly gonna start ending up in a prison system, and then many things gonna start happening. In my free understanding, what happens when you have political prisoners together with criminal prisoners, it's gonna be same as in Solzhenitsyn Gulag updates. It's below. You're gonna have criminals or sociopaths pinned against political prisoners, which are typically empaths and mentally healthy people. And this is how people who've been fined even for a short period of time, to give you perspective, 4,000 euros translated into prison time, it's 1 day in prison is 40, about 40 euros here, 39 I think. So let's say you said something wrong and they threw a book on you, send you for 100 days in a prison. You could actually die within those 100 days in many different ways. Prisons are not very healthy environment, especially when for a couple of packs of cigarettes and maybe some heroin, some crazy maniac is pushed to kill you, and that's how it goes with political prisoners. Second thing is those prisons are gonna turn into sort of academies when people who've been speaking truth and ended up there gonna of course start educating other people. So you're gonna have more and more uh, problems in a society, because now once this stepping stone is made, and this is such a big thing that I simply could not keep my mouth shut. Although technically speaking, it's better to keep your mouth shut, but on the long run, if you live in this kind of fascist type of society, where formally speaking you don't have any longer freedom of speech, you know that it's going to end up in the population, which was the plan all time long. But now you see, if a C thing, which I can't even say on a YouTube, if a C thing was a prelude to this 2020, 21, 22, this is actually stepping stone, and officially with this stone from the sacred hill, I'm telling you, this is the stepping stone where this little republic now ended up in a totalitarian system, in a new world order. Uh, am I afraid? Yeah, I am afraid. And wherever you live, you should be afraid as well. Nothing is wrong with a justifiable fear. So, why am I saying it? I'm saying it because simply I have to. You understand me? I have to say it. I have to say it's a sick thing. I have to say that we turned our clock back into the late 1980s, and that everything what we had, even about this fake ass democracy, now it's been annulled. This was the best thing what I always seen in this post-communist period we've been through. At least formally, you have freedom of speech. Sure, you're gonna pay it by being blacklisted, and you will never get a normal job. Sure, you will be harassed by the flying monkeys of the system. Many people work for that. Sure, things gonna be difficult for you as a TI, but this is the moment when you see, yeah, it's writing on a wall. Yeah, the next step is gulag, and after that, it's death. And for the majority, who's keeping their head down, who is playing with the devil, siding with the devil, these people also gonna end up badly, brutally eliminated, because this is how it's going, guys. It's not going well. It's not going well. It's not only happening here, it's also happening in the neighboring republics around us. They either talk about it or it's passing through the parliament. We all know that the name is rigged, the game is rigged. We all know who is the system. You understand me? reptiles, Illuminati, and psychopaths are running the show. So that's how it is. Um, Furthermore, if you guys want to ask me practical things, I humbly, ponizno moram reći, I humbly must say that I'm not a guy for practical things. I don't have property. I don't know how to do things. I'm philosopher. I'm simply sitting here on my rock and speaking mind alone. So I want to share this. If you have some comments and ideas, write it down. Trolls, of course, gonna be blocked, but they don't visit much this channel anymore because they know my policy. And you know, when I'm speaking this, some images are coming through my mind. I've been on this naked island, on this gulag, where political prisoners been sent. I've been, of course, as a tour guide with tourists, showing them around, also showing always the same movie in the same theater. But I also talked to people from the area. They talked me. They told me different things. What happened there? So I want to say this. It was it was not a joke. It was a gulag where local Yugoslav communists combined two torture methods. One was from Soviet Union, another one was from Gestapo. They perfected it, and this is how it worked. And with this, I'm gonna finish. So they would arrest you, then they would force you to write your own confession and to tell what other people apart from you have been spying for the CIA, KGB. List is very long. You can be very creative. Until you confessed, you've been in the class called bandits. So what that was in practice is that the guy who was pokajnik or redeemer would literally like hold you for your legs, and you would with your hands you would like walk on the sharp stones, and he would like curse you, ua banda, ua, stuff like that. Then they would force you to take a rock from the sea, go all the way to the hill, drop that rock, take a rock, new another rock, go with that rock back to the sea. Also repeat that with a bucket. Take a bucket of sea water uphill. Another torture method was to force people to work whole day under the sun and to use the rubber hammers to break the stones. As you know, physics, with a rubber hammer, you cannot break the stone. It was for breaking your own will. So once you've been broken, and with the torture, everybody can be broken and will be broken. We are souls, but we are in human bodies. Sleep deprivation, torture, shouting, lots of psychopaths around you. They would break you, and when they finally broke you, you would write confession and imply all the people you know into the game. They would arrest those people, send them back. You would do your time, but you've been required to be a snitch. You would snitch your friends. If not, you will be returned. So this is the story of one guy. He spent some time on the island. I think it was 10 years. He survived. Many didn't. And he when he returned home, one guy came to him and started to talk very critically about the government. I'm talking about Yugoslavia 1960s. And that guy, very passionately talked against the regime, went away. Our target from the story kept mouth shut. He was arrested a couple of days later, and because he didn't report that guy. That guy was a provocateur. So this is why many people been running away from those people who been on the island, because they've been afraid of them. So you're talking about the next layer of the social isolation in the normal society. Whole country was a gulag. You understand me? So, and this is exactly why you couldn't speak about the constitution and social management, social establishment of that socialist republic, because this is what are we talking about, and we of course know how it all ended. It ended up in a horrible genocide, 91, 95. Simply whole pile of shit, so exploded into very unhealthy way that we became a laughing stock of the whole Europe and the rest of the world. So this is the danger when you cannot communicate about issues in your community, when issues are so big that government simply said enough of talking about the issues. Now it's the prison time. So I'm afraid of it because I know history. I know that history repeats itself, and some people will say, well, if it does not repeat itself, definitely it rhymes. I know that it's gonna be very bad in the future. Many people gonna end up in a prison system. Many people, political prisoners, gonna be tortured by the by the real criminals, because real criminal sociopaths work very well with the psychopaths who are in the power, and those people don't like empaths who speak the truth. So that's going to be one problem. Another problem is society going to be even more radicalized, because it's clearly that it's no longer even formally democratic society, because guys, this was a stepping stone. We are no longer even fake democracy. This is not democracy anymore. Going to vote, 47% of people, I think, voted on the last election, and we had always same party pretty much past 30 years, since 1991, 1990. It's always same party most of the time. Doesn't really matter. If things are like that, nobody can hide any longer. You understand me? There is no more hiding. This is it. We now live in a totalitarian society, as Americans like to say, a pig with a lipstick, right? So we live in democracy, which is basically pig with a lipstick. Since April 21st, our little republic is a pig with a lipstick. That's what it is. And with these words, I end this video.